There is a 330 million light-year gap in our reality, a dead zone so massive it breaks the cosmological principle. According to the standard model of the universe, a region of space this large should contain at least 2,000 galaxies. But when we scan the Boötes region, we only find 60. In 1981, astronomer Robert Kirshner aimed his instruments at this sector. He didn't just find empty space. He found a region where 1,940 galaxies appeared to have been systematically removed. What he found wasn't natural. But theoretical physicists like Dr. Michio Kaku and Freeman Dyson propose that we might not be looking at empty space. We might be looking at the footprint of a Kardashev Type 3 civilization. A Type 3 civilization operates on a galactic scale. To fuel an empire of that magnitude, they must systematically harvest the energy output of billions of stars by constructing Dyson swarms. Imagine you were able to capture 100% of the radiation emitting from our sun to indefinitely power a single empire-wide grid. With a Dyson swarm, it's completely possible. From the outside perspective, the star doesn't explode. It simply vanishes from the visible spectrum. But capturing light is only the first step. Advanced theoretical models suggest an apex civilization would engage in a process known as star lifting. By using massive magnetic fields, they can literally strip mine a star, siphoning off its hydrogen and helium to use as raw building materials. But what requires that much mass? The construction of a matryoshka brain. Imagine you were able to simulate an exact molecule-by-molecule digital replica of our entire universe, or predict the future by calculating every physical variable in existence. With a matryoshka brain, a stellar-scale supercomputer powered by the drained energy of 1 billion stars, it's entirely feasible. And a civilization this advanced wouldn't stop at living stars. They would weaponize the dead ones. Theoretical physics allows for the construction of Penrose spheres, megastructures built around the event horizons of spinning black holes, compressing the mass of 1 million Earths into a singularity, just to use its rotational pull as a limitless eternal battery. For a Type 3 empire, it can be done. To maintain an empire of this unimaginable scale, communication and travel cannot be limited by the speed of light. They would require space-time engineering. By manipulating vast amounts of negative energy, they could theoretically warp the fabric of the universe itself. They could fold reality like a piece of paper, stepping across a 330 million light-year gap in an instant. For an apex civilization, the void wouldn't just be an empty space. It would be a highway. But a Type 3 empire wouldn't just harvest energy, it would require infinite physical resources. Advanced astrophysics suggests the ultimate end state of matter is computronium, programmable matter capable of computing data at the quantum level. What if you could deconstruct entire planets, moons, and asteroids, atom by atom, converting dead rock into a living, thinking network? The 1,940 missing galaxies in the Boötes region might not have been moved. They might have been digested. And what happens when the stars finally burn out? A civilization planning for eternity would master zero-point energy, the ability to extract limitless power from the quantum fluctuations of empty space itself, effectively harvesting the silent, invisible friction of a vacuum to power an entire galactic armada. With zero-point extraction, they wouldn't need glowing galaxies to survive. To them, the absolute blackness of the Boötes void isn't a barren wasteland. It is an infinite, invisible ocean of fuel. And their ultimate defense mechanism? It challenges the limitations of the human mind entirely. To hide from a cosmic predator, you don't just manipulate space, you manipulate time. By engineering massive artificial gravity fields around the perimeter of the void, they could theoretically create a localized time dilation bubble. They would be able to slow down the flow of time so drastically that 1 billion years outside the void passes in only a single day inside it. They aren't just hiding in the dark. They are waiting for the rest of the universe to die. But a civilization that builds a 330 million light-year quarantine zone doesn't just hide, it fortifies. Advanced models propose the conversion of Dyson swarms into nickel Dyson beams, weapons capable of focusing the entire radiation output of a star into a single cohesive laser that can vaporize planets from millions of light years away. To position these planetary weapons, they wouldn't just use passive gravitational pulling. They would build Kaplan thrusters, active stellar engines that feed on the star's own plasma, firing thermonuclear jets to steer entire solar systems with absolute precision, like piloting a fighter jet the size of a star. By using these stellar engines, a civilization could systematically drive thousands of galaxies out of the Boötes sector, retreating to the edges to build a fortified, impenetrable wall of mass, leaving behind the exact 330 million light-year dead zone we are looking at today. This paints a highly advanced and deeply hostile picture of the Boötes region. It isn't just a dark zone, it's a fortified bunker, and the silence isn't an accident. It is a tactical blackout mandated by the dark forest theory. Imagine realizing that the only way to survive the universe is to turn off the lights, arm 1 billion stellar lasers, and wait in the dark. It's a deeply unsettling theory, but before we classify this sector as the militarized quarantine wall of a hostile alien empire, we must look at the hard, clinical mathematics of the Standard Model. Astrophysicists compare the universe to the structural mechanics of soap bubbles. When bubbles form, matter drains out of the center, collecting at the dense intersections, leaving a massive, empty sphere behind. What looks like an artificially constructed quarantine wall built by Kaplan thrusters is actually just the natural intersection of these cosmic soap bubbles. The stars weren't driven there by an empire. They collected there because that is where the gravity is densest. This fluid dynamics model also explains the blackout. When photons of light from distant galaxies travel into the Boötes void, they suffer from the integrated Sachs-Wolf effect. As light climbs out of a massive gravitational vacuum, it loses energy. What looks like a sector of stars hidden behind Dyson swarms and defensive grids is actually just light bleeding out its energy as it struggles to cross a massive cosmic desert. Under this model, the missing galaxies weren't removed. They were dragged away by the immense gravitational pull of the void's edges. The Boötes void isn't a dark forest. It is a vacuum actively ripping matter out of its center. When combined with phantom dark energy, voids act as kinematic engines. It is fluid dynamics operating on a cosmic scale. The only problem? There is a fatal flaw in the equation. Astrophysicists ran the soap bubble simulation through our most advanced supercomputers. The fluid dynamics work, the gravity models work, but the timeline is completely broken. Our universe is only 13.8 billion years old. For gravity to naturally pull matter away and clear out a dead zone 330 million light-years wide, the universe would need to be 3 times older than it currently is. It shouldn't be here. But the most unsettling piece of data isn't the missing galaxies. It is the 60 that were left behind, trapped in the center of the great nothing. Without the gravitational interaction of neighbors, they are dying in isolation. If humanity had evolved on the outer rim of one of these galaxies, our telescopes would have looked out into the void and seen absolutely nothing. A lonely anomaly in a dead universe, completely unaware of the 1,940 galaxies that were taken from us. And because the void is expanding, the distance between those 60 galaxies is increasing at an accelerated rate. Eventually, they will lose visual contact with each other entirely, an eternity of absolute cosmic isolation. Physicists say it cannot be an alien empire, but the mathematics of time tell us it can't be natural. Whatever created this dead zone, the data confirms it hasn't stopped. The void is expanding, the cosmic web is tearing itself apart, the silence is growing, and eventually, it will consume everything. If there is life in the Boötes void, it might be proof that the most advanced empires in the universe survive by turning off the lights and hiding in the dark, which makes humanity's greatest scientific achievement our most fatal mistake. We didn't hide. we built a cosmic beacon, and we sent them a map of Earth.